Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Okay, so get this. Our deep dive today, it actually starts with, believe it or not, a quiz show.
A quiz show.
Yeah, like one of those
Yeah.
trivia things. And the question is about Comic-Con, like the massive event we all know. Apparently, it was a question on this quiz show.
Really? Wow.
No, right? Let's hear how they phrased it.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right. With exaggerated game show host voice. Hello all, this is Rachel here with the second question of Season 206. The category is Media and Entertainment, and the question is as follows. What is the name of the annual convention that started in San Diego in 1970, originally as a gathering for comic book enthusiasts? Over the decades, it has grown to become a global pop culture phenomenon, featuring panels with celebrities, sneak peeks of upcoming movies and TV shows, video game showcases, and a renowned cosplay competition. It has now become one of the most anticipated events in the entertainment industry.
Wow, they really don't make it easy, do they?
Right. I mean, we know it's Comic-Con. But it's interesting how they, even in the question, hint at just how much it's changed.
Yeah.
It's like you say Comic-Con now, and everyone pictures this huge global thing.
Absolutely.
But back in 1970,
completely different story.
totally. Like, imagine trying to explain what Comic-Con is to someone who only knew it from those early days.
Right. Like before the red carpets and the endless movie trailers and all that.
Exactly. So you were saying the first one, it was nothing like the Comic-Con we pictured today.
Oh, not even close. Picture this. 1970, San Diego, you're at the U.S. Grant Hotel.
Oh, wait.
Only 300 people show up, and they're there for one thing. Comic books.
Wow, 300 people. That's tiny.
Tiny. And the founders, Shel Dorf, Richard Alf, and Ken Kruger, they called it the Golden State Comic Book Convention.
Okay, so even the name was a mouthful.
Right. Talk about niche.
Wow, that really puts it in perspective.
It does, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
that's pure enthusiasm right there.
Yeah.
You got these attendees, they're swapping rare comics, they're finally meeting their favorite creators face to face.
It's like a haven for them, long before any of this became mainstream.
Exactly.
It's kind of mind-blowing, to be honest,
Oh.
to think about this tiny gathering becoming what we know as Comic-Con today. At what point did things start to shift? Was there a defining moment when it went from, like, niche to mainstream?
Yeah, I'd say the 90s were a real turning point.
The 90s.
Yeah, because that's when Hollywood really started to catch on to Comic-Con's potential.
I see where you're going with this.
Right. They saw this huge, passionate audience all in one place, and they realized they could tap into that.
Like, they suddenly realized, wait, these geeks are actually the tastemakers.
Exactly.
It's almost like a validation of geek culture, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And studios started bringing out the big guns. I'm talking exclusive previews, early footage. For example, the very first showing of the Men in Black trailer
Get out.
happened at Comic-Con back in '97, caused a frenzy.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Those moments where you realize, wow, this event is shaping the entire entertainment landscape.
Exactly. And that shift in the 90s, that's what set the stage for what Comic-Con has become today. This blend of, like, fan enthusiasm and big studio hype.
So it's not like Hollywood just swooped in and created this whole passionate fan base out of nothing, right? These were already dedicated fans.
Oh, absolutely. Like I was saying, even in those early days, it wasn't just about the comic books themselves, you know?
Right.
It was about the whole world of imagination they represented. Science fiction, fantasy, any kind of storytelling that really captured that sense of wonder. Comic-Con was practically built for this kind of expansion, even back then.
So those early fans, they were like the trendsetters, even if they didn't realize it at the time.
Exactly. They were laying the groundwork for what it would become. And then as those genres got more popular, think about the explosion of superhero movies. Comic-Con evolved right alongside them.
Makes sense. And that's reflected in what we see at the convention today, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about the biggest blockbuster movies anymore.
No, not at all. Don't get me wrong. Those big studio reveals are still a huge part of the draw, but it's so much more than that now. You've got panels on independent comics, web series, animation, video games. I've even seen academic discussions about the impact of pop culture.
Wow, that's quite a range.
There's a real depth to it now, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It's fascinating how Comic-Con has managed to hold on to its roots, that genuine love for comics, that community spirit, while also embracing this massive expansion.
Well, yeah, it's a delicate balance for sure. And that's what makes it so interesting to me. Like, how do you maintain that sense of community, that authentic spirit, when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of people? when the Hollywood machine is right there?
Right. It's a tough question, and I don't think there's an easy answer.
There isn't. But maybe that's part of the appeal, this constant evolution, this ability to keep surprising us. It makes you really think about what fandom means in the first place.
I like that. And it's not just confined to those few days in San Diego anymore, is it?
Oh, definitely not. It's like a year-round conversation now. Online, in fan communities on social media, that energy from Comic-Con, it's global. It goes way beyond just a physical event.
It's true. It's like as soon as one Comic-Con ends, the speculation for the next one begins. You can feel the anticipation building.
Exactly. And it's that shared excitement, that feeling of being part of something bigger than yourself. I think that's what really defines the Comic-Con experience for so many people.
That shared experience, it connects people across borders, languages, backgrounds. It's really remarkable when you think about it. But, since we're talking about connections, I kind of want to shift gears a bit. We've talked a lot about Comic-Con's past, its evolution, but what about its future? What do you see as the biggest opportunities and maybe even the biggest challenges facing Comic-Con as we go forward?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I think one of the most pressing challenges is accessibility. Ticket prices have skyrocketed, and that's before you even factor in travel, accommodation. It's a real barrier for a lot of fans.
Especially for younger fans or people who aren't exactly rolling in money.
Exactly. And it shouldn't be a luxury experience, to celebrate something you're passionate about.
Right, absolutely. Everyone should be able to participate.
And it ties into another big challenge, diversity and representation. Comic-Con has made efforts, don't get me wrong, but there's always more to do to make sure everyone feels welcome, feels seen.
Yeah, it's an ongoing process for sure.
Yeah.
But it's good to know those conversations are happening.
Absolutely. And it's not just about who's attending, but whose stories are being told, both at the convention itself and in the wider world that Comic-Con reflects. And that leads us to another big one, staying relevant. The entertainment landscape is changing so rapidly, especially with streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus doing their own events, making big announcements all year round. How does Comic-Con keep up?
That's the question, isn't it? What makes it stand out?
It has to offer something unique, something you can't get anywhere else. It can't just be about trailers and autographs. It has to be a destination.
Like a truly immersive experience.
Exactly. A place where fans feel like they're not just consuming pop culture, they're shaping it. They're a part of it.
I love that. Fostering that sense of ownership, not just passive consumption. But along with those challenges, there have to be some amazing opportunities too. What makes you hopeful about the future of Comic-Con?
Technology. Think about it. What if Comic-Con incorporated virtual reality? Augmented reality.
Oh, wow. Okay, now you're talking.
Right. Imagine being able to step inside your favorite comic book world, to interact with characters in a whole new way.
It would be incredible, bringing those fantasies to life.
And it's not just about the wow factor either. It has practical applications too. VR and AR could make Comic-Con more accessible for people who can't physically be there. Fans with disabilities, people in remote locations. Suddenly, they can experience it too.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That's using technology to break down barriers.
Exactly, and that's just the beginning. Imagine an expanded online presence, interactive experiences for fans year-round, virtual panels, workshops, behind-the-scenes content.
It could become this global community hub, connecting fans all over the world.
Precisely. But it's crucial to remember, technology is just a tool. The key is to use it in a way that enhances the human connections that are at the heart of it all. Because those are what make Comic-Con special in the first place.
Absolutely. Complementing the in-person experience, not replacing it.
Exactly. And that's what makes me optimistic,
Yeah.
Despite the challenges, it's always been about community, about shared passions, about the power of stories to bring people together. Those values, those never go out of style.
Couldn't agree more. But you mentioned diversity and representation earlier, and I wanted to circle back to that for a moment. Why is it so crucial for Comic-Con, especially as it looks to the future?
Well, for a long time, there was this perception, right, of Comic-Con, of geek culture in general, as belonging to a very specific type of person.
Right, like a stereotype, even if it's not fair or accurate.
Exactly. But fandom has always been diverse. People from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all identities. They love comics, movies, TV shows, video games. The love for a good story transcends all those boundaries.
Absolutely.
And Comic-Con has a responsibility to reflect that diversity, to be a place where everyone feels welcome, included, not just tolerated, but celebrated.
It can be so powerful,
Mm.
to see yourself reflected in those stories, in the people creating them.
Exactly. It can inspire a whole new generation of creators and fans who might not have seen themselves represented before. And it's not just about doing the right thing, it's about enriching the Comic-Con experience for everyone. More voices, more perspectives, they lead to more interesting, more nuanced conversations.
It makes the whole event, the whole community, richer and more vibrant.
Beautifully put. At its heart, Comic-Con is about celebrating the power of storytelling, the way it connects us, inspires us, reminds us of our shared humanity. And that's a powerful message, especially in today's world.
It's funny when you really think about it. Comic-Con is more than just an event, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, it's like I don't know, a living, breathing testament to how much we love stories, to our fascination with heroes with imagination.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's something that seems to connect with people of all ages, too.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen it firsthand, grandparents sharing their love of classic comics with their grandkids, parents introducing their kids to their favorite movies and TV shows. It's like this beautiful cycle.
It really is. This whole thing started with a handful of comic book fans in a hotel basement,
Right.
and now it's this massive multi-generational phenomenon.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it like that.
It really is. We've talked a lot about Comic-Con's past, its present, but I'm curious, what about the future? What do you think Comic-Con will look like in, say, 10, 20, even 50 years?
Wow, that's a tough one. 50 years is a long way out.
I know, right? But it just humor me.
Okay, let's see. Well, if I had to guess, based on everything we've talked about, the way technology is changing things, the push for more diversity, how the very definition of geek culture is evolving, I think Comic-Con is just going to keep on changing, keep on pushing boundaries.
So more evolution, more surprises.
Exactly. For example, remember how we were talking about virtual reality and augmented reality earlier?
Yeah.
Imagine attending a panel discussion from home, but with VR. It feels like you're right there in the audience.
Oh, wow. I hadn't even thought of that.
Right. Or putting on an AR headset and suddenly your living room IS Gotham City?
That would be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not just a coolness factor either.
Right.
It would make Comic-Con accessible to so many more people.
Exactly. People who can't physically travel for whatever reason, they could still be a part of it.
Exactly. It would be a game changer. And, thinking about all of this, it strikes me that Comic-Con really is a reflection of our own evolving relationship with pop culture. We're constantly finding new ways to connect with the stories we love, to share those experiences with others. And Comic-Con has become this incredible platform for all of that. It's been fascinating to take this deep dive into its history, its impact, and to imagine what the future holds. So to our listeners, we leave you with this: what does your Comic-Con future look like? As we wrap things up here, keep those imaginations running wild and never stop exploring the worlds, real or imagined, that spark your passions.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.